Review on a 2015 Sherco 290 ST Trials bike. I guess the review's more about trials bikes for beginners like myself. No Dougie Lampkin, but been riding 40 years and I've had 2 or 3 of these over the years. So this is just more of a little review on the bike. Now remember, I'm no expert, so all you people out there that, you know, can jump over houses, ignore this. This is for, I'd say, the beginner or the older bloke that wants to just think he'll have a go of one of these. I've had 2 of these before, and I've had the Beta 300 Evo, and this is the 2015. The 290s I had before were 2005 and 2008, I think, and that was about 10 years ago. Right, with these bikes, for beginners, people say, you know, you should start with a 125 or whatever. My personal belief is it's down to your experience of riding. I went straight onto a 290 when I first got one of these, and I was in my 40s when I first got one of these. It wasn't too much for me at all. And I had a couple of mates at the same time. We all bought them together, all in our 40s, 45s. We all bought 290s and 250s. We never had a problem with them. So, you know, it's down to the rider. If you're a complete novice rider, maybe go for the 125, probably makes more sense. But I had no issue at all. And to be honest, I preferred the power of the 290 straight from the off. Not that I had anything to compare with lower CC wise, but I found the power on this was brilliant. Going up high steep hills, going up the steep rocks and so on, I thought it was brilliant. So I had no issue. Right, so after that, you can make your own decision on bikes. Now, when buying one of these bikes, any trials bike, whether it's the Sherco, the Gas, the Beta, you know, the TRSs, whatever. My honest opinion, from having ridden these and had people that have bought them and friends that have bought them, buy the best you can, because they will cost you money to fix. Now, you can buy a bike in this condition, which is, yeah, I mean, it really is. It's had next to no use, this bike at all. And it's a 2-owner bike, next to no use. And there's not a bearing, there's not anything gone wrong with it. All bearings are good, the bushes are good, the shock's good, fork seal, everything's good on this bike, absolutely everything. Now, you can buy 3, 4, 5, 6 of these bikes, all at the same price, and over half of them will need another 400 or 500 quid spending on them because they've not been maintained properly. With these bikes, it's maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. It does not matter about the year. This is a 2015. I've seen 2020s that are fucked. So it isn't about the year of the bike. It's about who's owned it, who's maintained it, and at what standard it's been used. This is not being used, you know, has a little knock on the exhaust there, but, you know, it's a trials bike and a few scratches on the wheels, but it's a trials bike. It's been looked after. So yeah, so in that, they're great. Power-wise, brilliant. You will find most of the time you use second gear all the time. You don't really go out much more if you're doing tyres, logs and so on. You know, all your riding's in second gear. It really is. You know, first, second, third, possibly you want to be wheeling across fields and that. But, you know, I can honestly say, unless you were doing long journey, you know, from one part of a track to another, you never went in third, fourth and fifth. You just never did. But anyway, maintenance on them. Always check, grab the back end, pull it up and down. Check whether your bushes are gone. If your bushes and you have gone in your suspension, you're looking at £100 to replace them yourself. About 80 quid actually to replace them all yourself. If you do get in the shop to do it, you're looking at a bill of 200. So, you know, you've got to take this in mind. Check exhausts for holes and that. Check the fork seals. Fork seals, you're doing them yourself, cost you £25. You take them to a shop, you're going to cost you £2.50. So you've got to remember that if you can't do it yourself. Check the bash plates. Check that there not any damage on the bash plates. A good sign on these, you can tell how much use they've had if you're going for one that's almost in mint condition. Check underneath the bash plate how much damage it's got from rocks and that, which is normal, but you can you know, if you've got a bike that's it's done next to nothing, just have a look on it. I'm just trying to think of anything that friends have got caught out on. Check all your frame welds. Check all your welds when you're looking at them. A friend of mine's just bought a gas, and the frame's cracked. He didn't realise from a shop. The frame's cracked, which pushed the exhaust in, which the back wheel was now ripped off the inside of his exhaust, which he didn't know. So just check just good maintenance. Check your bash plate underneath. Good sign as well. If you've got no paint rubbing off here and all that, it's a sign it's not had a lot of use. Check the spokes, you know, the adjusters. They're absolutely shiny, you know, almost as new. So you know this hasn't had a lot of use. They go rusty and brown and that. Maintenance on these, I do oil. I change the air filter after every ride. You just wash them out, respray them, have one drying, and you put the replacement in. When you come back from the ride, you take that one out, put the one that you've already done back in, and just rewash the other one. Just makes sense, saves you waiting for one to dry if you want it to go out the next day. Oil change I do every 5 hours. I think they say every 10, but I do them every 5, which is normally every second outing. That's what I would do on this. If you haven't got a kill switch when you buy one, and you might just have like a push button switch or a switch, cut it off, switch it to a kill switch. Trust me, you come off your bike, which you will do, you wheel, even if you just wheel in and it runs away from you as beginners, what you want is that engine to turn off. Otherwise the bike can hit the floor, rev the bollocks up, and you can do some damage to your engine or your pistons or whatever. So kill switch is a no-brainer. To be honest, the kill switch, in my opinion, should be made mandatory, and they should come out the shop like that. But they don't for some reason. On this particular bike, I added the fuel cap. You've got to open up the fairing a little bit, but it stops any dust going into your fuel tank when you fill it. So it's a good idea. Yeah, just good honest bikes. Buy a good one. Sorry, really do buy a good one. It will cost you money if you don't. Now, you could buy something like this, $2.5 grand, does not need a thing doing on it. Absolutely nothing. 2 owners, next to no use. It's done about 40 hours, I think. No, you know, 2.5 grand. Brilliant. You can spend 2.5 grand on one from a shop that they've probably traded in for about 1,600 quid. And you could need bushers doing, you could need a whole new sticker kit. A new sticker kit would cost you £100. So you've got to take that into account. You know, you look at a cheap bike and you go, oh, I'll buy that, I'll get a new sticker kit, I can do the bushes. Well, all of a sudden, you're into it for another 350, 400 quid. We should have bought a decent one in the first place that's actually been looked after. You know, I've had mates that have bought ones that are 2 grand, say, and, you know, 500 quid cheaper than this, but they've had to spend £600 getting it right. And then what they've still got is a dog that they're into it for 2,600 quid instead of buying a Minter for 2,600 quid, which will always get your money back. Now, a dog will always be a dog. So we know these get marks on them and what have you, but that's life. They're a child's bike. So don't worry about marks and what have you, but just maintenance, how it's been, you know, looked after. You can tell a bike, you know. You get people that are anal. I'm anal. Bike comes back from a trip, it's washed, it's dried, it's air blown off, a bit over the top maybe, but my bikes look mint. So that's it. So yeah, that's it really. So for a beginner, I wouldn't think twice of going for a 250, 290 for an experienced rider, beginner. Wouldn't think twice of it. if you're a young lad and you're new to biking, I'd probably suggest you go for the 125s. It makes more sense. You can send these skywards. I certainly have in the earlier days. I'm over 50 now, so it's more tyres and logs. But if you're looking at buying one of these for the first time and you're hearing people say, oh, you must go for a 125, it's safer. Trust me, from a bloke in his 50s that is no Dougie Lampkin, can just about go over tractor tyres, which are, what, 1.5 foot, 2 foot high, go over logs and wheeling up and down a field. That's about my limit. Anything higher than 2 foot and, you know, the old pooper goes. So, but for someone like me, who is a novice, 200, 290, 250, the Beta Evo 300, not a problem. Honestly, not a problem. Just kicking back to the Evo 300, the Betas, I can honestly say my Beta was probably one of the best Charles bike I had. The only thing you've got to remember with the Beta is the kickstart is on the left-hand side, which is an absolute pain in the fucking arse if you're right-footed. You know, you're used to standing on your left foot, kicking it with your right foot. Kicking it with me left was an absolute... It weren't horrendous, but it was a pain in the arse. That's the only reason when I bought this, I didn't go for another Beta, because I just didn't like the left-hand kickstart. It pissed me off. But anyway, so I hope this helps somebody. It's just an honest review from somebody who's no Dougie Lampkin, who's just a bloke that likes to whiz round fields and go over, you know, jumps, or go down to your local course and, you know, maybe go over some hills and bits and bobs. I wouldn't say I was good at Charles' bike. I would probably say in the grand scheme of things, I can go round a few things without embarrassing myself, but that's about it. So, yeah, hope this helps somebody. Great bikes. Yeah, hope this helps somebody out.